James woke up that morning with the weight of the world on his shoulders. His alarm had betrayed him, ringing with a relentless insistence that he had chosen to ignore, wrapped in the comfort of his blankets. The clock blinked menacingly, its hands creeping toward the hour when he should have been at his desk, ready for another day of monotonous tasks. He scrambled through his morning routine, a whirlwind of mismatched socks and hastily brewed coffee, his heart racing as he realized he was going to miss the bus. As he dashed out the door, the bus pulled away from the stop, its engine roaring like a cruel reminder of his tardiness. Frustration bubbled within him, a cocktail of anger and regret. He contemplated waiting for the next bus, but a voice in his head urged him to take control of the situation. Grumbling under his breath, he decided to walk instead. The sun was shining brightly, but the warmth did little to lift his spirits. He trudged along the sidewalk, his mind racing with thoughts of deadlines and missed opportunities. As he walked, the city buzzed around him, people moving like ants in a colony, each absorbed in their own tasks. James felt like an outsider, a solitary figure in the midst of a bustling hive. He was lost in his frustration when he noticed an elderly woman struggling with a heavy bag of groceries. Her frail frame seemed dwarfed by the weight she was carrying, and for a moment, he hesitated. The clock was ticking, and every second felt like a countdown to his inevitable failure at work. Yet something deep within him stirred, a flicker of compassion that urged him to act. He approached her, offering a warm smile despite his inner turmoil. "Can I help you with that?" he asked, his voice softer than he expected. The woman looked up at him, her eyes sparkling with gratitude. "Oh, thank you, dear. I'd appreciate it more than you know," she replied, her voice warm and welcoming. James took the bag from her, feeling the weight shift from his shoulders to hers, and together they began to walk. As they ambled down the street, she shared snippets of her life, tales of her grandchildren, and the joys of living in the neighborhood for decades. James found himself captivated by her stories, his frustration slowly melting away with each laugh they shared. The world around him faded into the background, and for the first time that morning, he felt a sense of peace. They reached her home, a modest little house with flowers blooming in the front yard, and she thanked him profusely, her smile lighting up her face. "Please, come by any time," she said, her voice filled with warmth. He nodded, feeling a connection that transcended the brief encounter. As he continued his walk to work, he felt lighter, as if the act of kindness had lifted a burden he hadn't even realized he was carrying. The next day, the office buzzed with an unusual excitement. As James settled into his chair, his boss called for a meeting. He entered the room, his heart racing, unsure of what to expect. To his astonishment, his boss announced that he was being promoted, a recognition of his hard work and dedication. But the twist came when he mentioned the reason behind the decision. "I've been watching you, James," he said. "My mother told me about you yesterday. She was so impressed by your kindness." In that moment, everything clicked into place. The missed bus, the decision to walk, the encounter with the elderly woman, it all led him here to this unexpected opportunity. Life's delays, he realized, often guided him to the very moments he needed most. Sometimes it took a detour to discover a path that was meant for him, one that intertwined fate and kindness in a way he could never have anticipated.